You're listening to the Hockey Podcast Network. New shows every day. Find us at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Hi everybody, welcome to Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. Of course, I'm here, not live. Sometimes I see that question pop up on YouTube, and of course, if you're listening to the podcast right now, I was lucky enough to not post our latest episode, so this will be our new opening to that episode. Of course, the announcement of Derek LaLonde becoming the Red Wings' new head coach. So I thought I'd take some time here. Let's go over some of the details, because I think I got a fair share of messages last night. You may have gotten a fair share of messages last night of how do you feel about LaLonde? Well, we'll take a quick look here, and I think it starts off with, is this the most exciting signing in the world? And I will say, if you are super stoked, there's reason to be. This guy has quite the track record, which we'll go over in a second. But is this something, I don't know. I'm shopping for a house right now. So you have like your checklist, right? You're looking for things that you absolutely need in the house. But is this the house that has like the sweet hot tub out back? And it just so happens they were fans of bowling. So if you pick this house, you get a bowling alley in the basement. Yes, of course, I'm talking about maybe a house that's way too high over all of our budgets right now. But is this, for me, the house with a bowling alley, a hot tub, and a pool? For me, it's not, but it does cross off a lot of boxes. Okay, and when I say you're right to be excited, I mean we can talk about our man's track record here. Ferris State University actually taking over for Jeffy Boy. That's right. Took over for Jeff Blashill. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you can actually see this list here. But for the podcast listeners, basically his coaching timeline, 2002 to 2006. University of Denver, 2006 to 2011. And then the Green Bay Gamblers, 2011 to 2014. Keep in mind, for the Gamblers and then the Walleye, some pretty great first years. Gamblers go on to win a championship, and the Walleye go from worst to regular season first. So a couple of points of note there in regards to what can this guy do with an organization in his first year. And of course, moving over to the Iowa Wild head coach, 2016 to 2018. We also know that our very own assistant coach, Alex Tunge, coming from there. And then, of course, the assistant coach for the Tampa Bay Lightning, brought in while Stevie Y was under watch. So this is the second time that Steve Yzerman has been a part of a decision of bringing Derek LaLonde to a coaching staff. So clearly there's something that Steve likes. And we kept asking, what is Steve waiting for? We talked about the other candidates that Steve might have been interested in. It appears, ladies and gentlemen, it might have just been the one and only, because now on that coaching timeline for Derek LaLonde, as previously mentioned, starting in 2022, of course, the Detroit Red Wings head coach. Do I hate this signing? Absolutely not. I'm happy. I think this could have gone a lot of worse ways. I think for a sicko who spends way too much time thinking about it, and when I say I would have wanted the house with the hot tub and the bowling alley, and I would make the argument that Derek is not necessarily that, that's where you come in with just like the Gromborgs, right? I mean, we've been talking, and I'll say it, I probably use this way too often on the podcast, ad nauseum. We go on and on about how excited we were to try and take a jump across to the SHL to find our new head coach. And clearly we did not. And it just seemed like that was exciting. So am I over the moon with Derek LaLonde? I can confess I am not, but I still think this is a really good hire. And I think that's fair. I think that's okay. I'm fine with I could have made the choice to not bring that up at all. No, Derek LaLonde, his statement. We'll jump into that because I think it's important too to kind of dissect that. Derek LaLonde seems like a really nice guy, but he does come through here. I'm thrilled to be named the head coach of the Detroit Red Wings. I'd like to thank Chris, Tyler Illich family, as well as Steve, trusting me with the opportunity to lead this historic franchise. I'm ready to get to work with our group. It's a very bright future ahead in Detroit. What was he gonna say? But I do like to bring out the point here. He's ready to get to work, and we absolutely have to get to work. This is kind of our point going into this week in our last episode, which you guys will hear us if you're listening to the podcast. You'll actually hear the rest of this right after this this episode or this little recording. For everyone else, you can just slip on over to episode 242. But we talked about, oh my gosh, we need to get this done. We have the draft coming up next week. It does make me wonder if this was sort of what we were waiting for, was the Lightning to get knocked out of the playoffs for our new head coach to be announced. Do discussions happen? Do the Lightning allow that to happen with their old GM to start having discussions on like what the next steps are? As much as we'd sit here and agree that Steve Yzerman is the be all end all, I think you still want to speak to your head coach. There's a reason you bring him aboard, and you want to get some of that information. So whether or not you want to believe that they absolutely had not talked about it, or they've talked about it a little bit, it's a lot of it's got to happen this week. So with that being said, I did have one point I already brought up here, but I think bring up another one here, and it really the long and short of it is what a huge fan I'm turning into of Derek LaLonde real quick. And like I said, bring up the hot tub, the bowling alley house. Maybe it's not that, but it doesn't mean like the house you land with, you hate it. You just maybe missed out on the house with the hot tub and the bowling alley in the basement. But Derek LaLonde, coming from Jordan Strack, a great story. A fan in South Carolina sat behind the Walleye bench, of course, coaching the Toledo Walleye. He had a poster calling him Uncle Fester from the Addams family after the game, a playoff game, mind you. LaLonde came out, signed the poster, and took pictures. My man, Derek LaLonde, he's not winning any beauty contests. Look, I immediately thought of, I love you, Derek. I hope you never hear this. I immediately thought of the Harry Potter goblins. A lot of people are thinking Gru. Uncle Fester's been bounced around quite a bit. This guy's going to be a meme king in Detroit for a little bit here. This is going to be fun. And I do like that he participates in the fun. This is a guy who's, you see this story, who very self-aware, right? So another good thing. So what's next for Detroit? We still have a couple of openings, as Max Boltman put. We got to fill Doug Huda was taking over defenseman and penalty kill, and Jeff Salashko, charge of the goalies. I know we've had a couple of shout outs. Of course, who else would we shout out but Dominik Hasek being in charge of the goalies? But we still got to fill those out. And I do like, if you guys are reading through some of the articles, props to anybody who's remembering to mention this team still needs a lot of upgrades in the roster. So we were never super hard on Jeff. We're not going to be super hard on Derek. You better not be either. Let's focus on the roster. We have our new head coach. I still make the argument. I think a lot of coaches fit right here. I think you have some coaches that will go all the way up here. And there's very few between the very best coach of all time and what most of the coaches are going to fit in. And then you've got your dog crap coaches like from Chicago and the Blackhawks that tell their players to come up with their own plays. Those guys are down at the bottom. Very few and far between. I think a lot of coaches fit right here. So right now, all we can think is that Derek is going to fit right here. There's that mean average for coaches, and most of them are going to fit pretty close to the standard deviation of what that average is. So I'm just throwing that out there. I think a lot of coaches are going to fit pretty close to that average line. So again, when you talk about excitement, you talk about, how thrilled are we going to be? That's kind of where I'm at right now. But of course, we got to see so much more. I just ask everyone, take your time, take a deep breath. If they come out struggling, it's not because Derek's making a bunch of wrong decisions. Not only is he getting to know this team, but this team will struggle because of who's on the roster. So we just have to realize that. We have to come at it with some realistic expectations here. So sounds like Derek's a good guy. Sounds like he's going to be fun to make memes off of. And he's excited to get to work. What else can you ask for? All right. You also got the long list here. So it's not like, we can turn around and say he hasn't coached anybody, which can sometimes pop up every now and then. But we do know that Jeff Blashill had a similar resume. So for any of you that are excited to get rid of Jeff and bring in Derek, very similar resume before becoming head coach of the Detroit Red Wings. Did Jeff Blashill have? I don't know why I'm talking like Yoda, but we will see you guys on Tuesday we'll see you guys on Wednesday night to do our final draft preview. Of course, look back on the old episodes. You guys will see all of our content where we've actually taken a deep dive on individual players and tried to figure out where we want to rank these guys for our number 8 pick. Take a look at that, and we'll see you guys Wednesday night. And congratulations, Derek LaLonde and Red Wings fans who can finally move on and start thinking about only the NHL draft. All right, we'll see you guys.